I thought I would share some things from a chapbook supplement from cc&d, and I have two poems from this one to share for you.
Patrick, your office ready at the back counter?
Oh, it's good to know. Patrick?
That's good to know.
It's good to know. This one is a women's issues poem, I believe, for another performance art show. It's called Echo in My Mind. The thoughts of these women, the visions of these women, the legacies of these women, they echo in my mind. I think of the woman who in her youth led armies to battle and saved her country. And for this, she was burned at the stake because she was a woman and she had beliefs. I think of the woman who wore a black dress as the bride to her wedding. And no, it's not because she's goth like me, it's because she had work to do. And she didn't want to get her white wedding dress dirty. And yeah, she had work to do. She was discovering things scientists take for granted now. She was discovering things no man had yet to wrap his head around. I think of the woman who lived in a time when she wasn't allowed a higher education. So she studied for free, and then she worked for free and made amazing scientific discoveries until she escaped Germany days before Adolf Hitler would have put her in a concentration camp. She carried a friend's diamond ring while trying to escape in case she needed to bribe someone to allow her to leave. And her drive, her work gave her the World Nobel Prize winning collaborations, despite the efforts of the Third Reich, and despite the patriarchy, and all her life she had fought. Well, she was just a woman. She doesn't need to learn. I think of the woman who was born in the first wave of women allowed to have higher education. But still, she left her communist home, searching for freedom. She started a life on the other side of the earth, because after what she learned, she knew that understanding philosophy could really set her free. I think of the woman born not too far from my home. She studied music, but wanted to share her story of life as a woman with the rest of the world. And through her journeys, she stayed with a tribe when prisoners, armed with lawnmower blades, broke out of their jail cell, while all she could do was wonder, wait, and listen out in the jungle. During her travels, she took mail planes, like airline for delivering postal mail planes, until she was dropped off as far as she could before completing her solitary journey to the North Pole. As an artist in residence for NASA, she learned how men, during the Cold War, thought of setting up nuclear bombs on the dark side of the moon. Attention. Of course, only a man would think of doing something like that. And when she was in a protest about the economic exploitation of women and the treatment of women as animals, giving out flyers with images of chicks, bunnies, foxes, and pussycats. And she even said that, quote, "For every dollar a man makes, a woman makes 63 cents. Now, 50 years ago, that was 62 cents. So, with that kind of luck, it'll be the year 3,888 before we make a buck." And I think about what all these women say, and I think about what all these women mean. And like they say, I could just go on and on and on. But tonight, I've got a headache.
Yeah, sure.
This piece told me that there was one other piece I should read from here. I thought I was going to do on my show. But it is missing. It says, I go on a 9 through. Yeah, so I will do this one. I had to mark which ones I could read.
Right.
That was.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I hadn't read them from this book before, I had to mark off what I can share. This, April being National Poetry Month, 1 year, I decided to write Erasure Poems where you take well-known documents or speeches and you just erase pieces from it and make something else. And this was one of them. This is a Erasure Poem, one of the most hated women in America. It will start with, "These are chosen words spoken by Casey Anthony after she was charged with the murder of her infant daughter, Kaylee, for which she was later acquitted. She keeps a lonely, guarded life now. In her words, I was in confinement for 23 hours a day for weeks at a time. In her words, my sentence was doled out long before there was a verdict. Sentence first, verdict later. Guilty long before a day in court. In her words, she does not have a significant problem with not telling the truth. In her words, I hate to say this, but cops believe other cops. Cops tend to victimize the victims. I see why I was treated the way I was, even had I been completely truthful. Cops lie to people every day. I'm just one of the unfortunate idiots who admitted they lied. In her words, I don't give a about what people think anymore about me. I never will. I'm okay with myself. I sleep pretty good at night. Yeah, she stays hidden now. We don't. She doesn't come out much. So. Anyway, on a different subject, this poem is not a religious poem. It's a poem about a relationship. It's not a religious poem.
Disclaimer.
Yes, this poem is called "Being God." I'm tired of dying for your sins over and over again. And why is it that I'm the one doing all the dying and you're doing all the sinning? I don't think you're learning your lesson. I'm tired of taking this knife to my hands over and over again, giving myself the stigmata, and the blood gets all over my clothes. I can never get the stains out. And for what? For you to see how I suffer? I'm tired of being humble when I'm supposed to be the one with all the power. Over and over again, I become your servant, and never are you bowing to me. I don't even get a thank you. I'm tired of preaching to the converted, where the converted aren't even really listening. They're all snoring in the back rows while I deliver my sermon, and there's not even air conditioning in here, and I'm sweating. I'm tired of coming to you and healing the sick, taking away the problems over and over again, giving you something to look forward to, and all I have is an eternity of waiting for someone to take my place and tend to my wounds. I'm tired of giving up the earth to you, watching the devil's work be done, and you know, he's just sitting out there and looking up at me and laughing over and over again, because it's so easy for him when he doesn't have to work. I'm tired of being your salvation. Over and over again, you turn to me, and I have no one to turn to but myself. It's a real pain, you know, being your own God, since no one can save me from me. I'm tired of being your teacher, handing you what you need on a silver platter and waiting for that stupid collection plate, and someone is always stealing out of it from the back row. I know who you are, you who leave me nothing. I'm tired of wearing this crown of thorns over and over again. The needles prick my skin, and even God's bleed. At least this one does. And when I ask you to wipe the blood out of my eyes, well, I can't see you anywhere. I'm tired of being something for everybody when everybody is nothing for me. Maybe the devil has the right idea, you know. Maybe I'll just sit back and wait for you to miss me as you wonder, who's your Messiah now? This one is called Evolving, Connecting, and Confounding. It concerns me when I see toddlers vying for their mommy's attention, yelling to get their mom to look up from their smartphone. It confuses me when I hear that IBM Corp, the company that invented the PC, has decided that all of their employees should use Macintosh computers. Riddle me this, Batman. Explain to me why the new decree is that all of the other employees should now use Macs. It condemns us all when I see an ad on TV of a hero fighting enemies, killing people, escaping certain doom before saving humanity, until a PlayStation logo appears followed by the words, "Greatness awaits." Well, how confounding, because greatness does await for those who didn't sit on those comfy cushions and play video games. Heroes act. They don't just sit back and escape the reality by playing games of an alternate reality. They make their lives great. So, yes, for all you console junkies, greatness still awaits. It consumes me when the town I am from, the city I love, the one with the best architecture and best skyline from the water, and wait a minute, the best tasting tap water too, the best blues music, the best cultural mix. It consumes my soul when the mayor calls Chicago a sanctuary city and further restricts gun rights of those who would legally buy guns, unlike the gangs who, in Chicago over Christmas weekend, shot over 60 people. Of course, there were innocent bystanders. It consumes me. It concerns me. It confounds me. It consumes me. And this is commonplace. This is the part that they actually call evolution. Or maybe that's how the culture evolves, by staring at screens with all the surface information they could ever want at their fingertips. Or maybe it's how our culture devolves, by not having to remember a thing because you always have Google on that smartphone of yours that's always smarter than you. So you can just stare at a screen instead of actually interacting with people. Because why would you want to interact with people when you can look at a 4-inch square screen instead? Went to a bar. Saw two men sitting together at a table, both using their smartphones instead of interacting with each other. But wait a minute, isn't the point of going out into public and to meet someone in the first place? Isn't the point to actually interact with people? And seriously, they were both working on the phone, and then one looked up at the other and said, "No, that's not true." And they went back to their phone. I'm like, they're somehow communicating. Text message? I don't know what they were doing. I'm like, you could just speak to each other. Sorry, this.
It's strange.
I couldn't believe that was.
There's a server. Adults will bring in, like, for their kids, huge, like, screens for them to watch. While they adults can. Yeah.
That's scary.
Just like,
You're supposed
not
to
even a phone, like,
iPad.
puts it down in front of the kids and the parents on their phone. And I'm like,
What is the point? Oh my gosh.
Childmind device.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. All right.
It's insane. They're not going to be able to talk to people.
That is
I used to
crazy.
be a lady, but I couldn't wait any longer.
I couldn't wait any longer.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't. Because at a bar, the pub, the publican was a place where people were meant to meet up with each other to interact. But this past New Year's Eve, at a bar on Rainy Street, a group of people went to a bar to ask if they had TVs so they could watch a sports game. You see, now the publican is becoming a place where people can all go to pay attention to something other than the people that they came with, or anyone else for that matter. This is your new future. Because I remember back in the day when me and my friend Jason had our laptops at a bar with our friends, and we would transfer files to each other by putting our laptop sensors in front of each other. So yeah, it was still being a computer geek and doing computer geek stuff, but at least I was in public interacting with the actual people while we did it. This is how we were cutting edge, I guess. This is how we were rebellious, all without losing a connection to actual people. We look for a happy medium. I am the woman who uses audio and video sampling in my performances. The woman with her own name as a domain name, tons of CDs on iTunes, who runs an expansive online print publishing organization incorporating YouTube, Vine videos, back in the day, Vine videos, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even Pinterest, Tumblr, and Google Plus, now that that is just closed, but I was master of that one too. But I don't know how many times I've been called a Luddite because I only recently got this smartphone, and you know, no one ever calls me, so really, what am I missing out on? Because maybe the problem is trying to come up with that balance. With this ever-expanding technology crammed down our throats that we're forced to feel that we need, sure, we can always want the latest and the newest. We can forget that our phone used to cost less than $20 per household per month.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that. Because we always have to give up something in order to get something new. We think we can have it both ways as we welcome the new millennium, but maybe the real key is remembering to strike a balance so that we don't lose what we loved about the past while embracing throwing our arms around the future. The future is ours. Just look before you leap so that you'll know that you'll land on your own 2 feet and still land on top. I've got one more. Oh, this one was from it was originally done in the last show that was ever done at the High Faith Summit. This is called Only Voice He Could Hear. When I was 10, I was the queen of Hawaii in a school play. Other students in my court kneeled around me, then dancers entertained us, all while I sat on a throne. I took advanced classes. I was even a tough 10 speller. Could spell the longest word in the English dictionary, pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Wow.
At this point, I thought I could do anything. So I learned a little French, but I don't know, I must admit it's my petit déjeuner because I was feeling a bit peckish and wanted something more. I joined choir, even sang with my graduate ceremony with classmates before I went to high school. Because even at the ripe old age of 13, I wanted to live by those words that we sang in that chorus. Climb every mountain, forge every stream, follow every rainbow, till you find your dream, until you find your dream. That was an octave higher back then. I'm not gonna do that. Till you. Oh yeah. Which I'm not gonna do that now. Anyway, it might break some windows if I say it that high. It might not be the best. Before the final graduation ceremony, an older man in a suit emblazoned with medals and ribbons from the American Legion came to the stage to award one student in the entire school with the American Legion Award, which seemed like the highest honor anyone could ever achieve. And when they said my first name, I wondered, wait, there's another student at this school with my name. How did they win? Because I couldn't believe it when they said my last name, and I walked out on the stage to get my medal from what I was sure was the nicest man I had ever met in my entire life. Once graduation ended and I saw my family, my father said to me that during the choir performance, I was the only voice he could hear.